Hey everybody, Jim Malone here, coming to you live on Dallas Trading Floor. Well, it is Friday and we are in front of the big weekend. So I hope everyone is going to be enjoying themselves over the weekend. I know I will be. Probably this is going to be the last show before Tuesday. Tuesday is when the market reopens, so that's going to be when I will be back. But for today, uh, the job numbers. I just want to kind of put it out there. The job numbers um, for the country were not as good as expected, and it does look like the Dow has taken a little bit of a hit. I'm kind of mixed bag. There was a very interesting movement today on DocuSign, and of course, I don't have I have a spread trade on DocuSign that I'm going to put out later for the people that that'll probably go out tonight to the people on the action trade alerts. I'll put that out there, but because I didn't really have enough time to totally write it up. Now, of course, everybody in the Discord room got it just as I made the trade, so that's a great thing. That's one of the advantages of the Discord room. You're going to get things just as they come out, right on time. With the other stuff, it's a little bit of a delay on the action trailers, but they're good too. And, so that's a good way to go as well. So before so let's get into some of the slides. It's going to be pretty short today, mostly going to be questions and hopefully some good trading strategies here. So let's get into the slides. Okay, well, we are still in a confirmed uptrend, and that indeed is a good thing. It's good that we're in an uptrend because, oops, let's put that back in there. Yeah, it's good that we're in a confirmed uptrend. But the job numbers disappointed. So the Dow's down a little bit, but I do want to show you a stock that definitely broke out, and of course it's DocuSign. And I did a spread trade on this, very nice little spread trade. It is a bull call, not a put, bull call spread on the October 15th 310 call, and I may be able to show you that just kind of quickly after we get through the slides, but I'll try to show you kind of how I got into that one and sort of the way. And then if you want to get some more detail and get the slide deck, you can definitely get on the action trailers, and we'll be sending that out probably on email today. So that will go good. And if for everybody watching on TikTok, it's super easy to get on the action trade alerts. This is how we typically put them out. You need to go to my profile, click the link, and first and last name, and then an email address, and we'll get you right out on that as well. And of course, if you want to see this live on TikTok, I cannot show you the charts, unfortunately, but they are running live on YouTube. So if you go to youtube.com/Dallas Trading Floor, that's where they are. Or you could alternatively, it's much easier actually. Just go to my profile, click the link, and you'll see a menu item for it. You can just click right on it. So that's a good kind of a cool good way to go. Well, of course, the stock of the day is DocuSign, and when this slide was taken, it was at 307. It's now at 310. It just shot right up. It shot right up to over 312, pulled back a little bit, but boy, DocuSign is looking very, very strong, folks. They had great earnings, and it just looks like, I think we're going to see this one climb a little bit. I think we do. So try to get in on this one. Might be a good one to get in on. I don't know if you can get in on it today. We're pretty close to the close right now. We're about 30 minutes out from the close. Right, I have 351, of course. Eastern, and of course the markets close at 4:30. This is not obviously because this is a spread trade with options. You can't go after that. So this one you might want to look at possibly for going in on it on Tuesday, and of course today's the third, but we won't be back until the 6th, and that's going to be on Tuesday. Just kind of want to show you what I'm currently in right now. Apple, it's up 68 cents. It's not a lot. Down a little bit on Berkshire Hathaway. This is a very stable, steady Eddie kind of one. The reason I'm in Berkshire is because they're heavily into the consumer. The consumer cyclicals, the brand names, those kind of things. They're not really exciting in terms of stocks, but it's very steady. So this is sort of my hedge. I use the Berkshire Hathaway a lot of times as a hedge. So I'm in Berkshire, down a little bit today, but it's floating around. Down a little bit on Macy's, just 88 cents. But this one just continues to score points, and it's Matson Lines, MATX, currently at 83.24. I'm probably going to be buying more of this. I just really like this. I didn't really know much about them. I looked at the chart, and the freight rates are going up, and shipping lines like Matson are really taking advantage of it. Now, interesting thing about Matson, of course, it's kind of the last of the Mohicans. Basically, what it is it's a U.S. based container ship company based out of Honolulu, and very very big in the Asia Pacific. They ship to places like Micronesia and Guam and China, but almost all the other ones are not U.S. flagged. This is a U.S. company, so it's very interesting. Matson, symbol MATX, and I think it's still actionable just barely. Nvidia shot up today, up $4.75. I do think we're going to see some strength come back into the chips. Nvidia is one of the great stocks, I think, at least this year. So I'm looking for strength there as well. I also have three chips here. ST Micro, it's up just 5 cents. This is the little engine that could. It just seems like it's up every day. Microchip finally made a turn, up 79 cents. Not a lot, but MCHP again. These are the three chips that I have. This one's going to be splitting. MCHP is going to be splitting 2-for-1 in the near future. So that's kind of a bullish thing too. Palantir is up today, not a lot, just 13 cents, but it's going in the right direction. Robert Half's down a little bit, but it's had a nice run. Goldman is down a little bit, but anything above 400 with Goldman, I'm liking it. Trex the Trex the platform for it, well, it's not a platform. This is the plastic wood company. I think this is a really peculiar company. I found it totally by doing scans, but it just doing really well. Now it's down today, but this one is a company that makes plastic wood, and so go figure. But if you're going to build a deck, this is a great way to go. So Adcore is down a little bit. This is been kind of a little bit disappointing. Um, been a little bit disappointing on this one, but still, this is the industrial space. PerkinElmer's up again. PerkinElmer, by the way, this is one of the, I think, really, really great stocks. It does extremely well in September. Now, we're coming into September, and September typically is one of the worst months for stocks. I want to be really clear about that. But there's two stocks that seem to do really well during this period. PerkinElmer's one of them, and John Deere is another one. Now, I don't have the physical shares for Deere. I have a spread on it, but it's doing very, very well. So, without further ado, I think I had some questions from the Discord room. So let's check in on the Discord room, see if I can do that. Of course, this is a special Discord room that we have, and let's see if I can get that up here. If I'm not mistaken, I should be able to. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I should be able to show this. So let's see if I can do it. It's always, I'm still, even after all this time, I'm still, I'm still doing, I'm still trying to be. I can't seem to get that up. Okay, well, all right. So, so it's not letting me do that. Okay, well, yeah, I will answer that. But everybody, thank you for, for holding. I'm going to figure out how to do that too, so I can simultaneously show you, what people are in our Discord room are saying. And this is this paid service, but a lot of people have been very successful with it. So, yeah, I think it's a great thing. Let's your thoughts on Docu and Zscaler. ZS, of course, is Zscaler. Let's take a look at Docu. Let's do that DocuSign first. I have that one up first, so let's put that screen up here. Yeah, and that should allow us to. Yeah, let's take a look at DocuSign first. I kind of have a lot of I have a lot of annotations on here. So let me just turn these annotations off here for a second, because I try to keep fairly good records. And this is really even when you're starting to trade. I really think it's important to start to annotate your charts, and that, and again, I'm not paid a nickel for for recommending I'm not making a nickel on MarketSmith, but I do love the fact that you can annotate things, and and this really helps me because when I go back, I remember this way, and it seems to be really it seems to really really work. So, anyways, this is DocuSign. We had some great earnings. The earnings per share are up 164%. I just kind of wanted to show you that. Look at these numbers. I mean, look at these numbers, everybody. 50% up. This is profit now. This is change in sales and then change in profit. The sales are just roaring. Look at this. 50%, 50%, 50%. I mean, this is a cash machine here. Absolute cash machine. And just kind of want to take a gander on this. This is incredible. Look at these numbers. They're just going up, up, up. Their sales are up 50% quarter on quarter, and then the profits, and this is really the key, 176% up. This is not a growth company, folks. This is a profit company. $1.70 cash flow. The return on their equity is an incredible 42%. So this is a company I think that a lot of people are really waking up to. There's a lot of big money coming into this to this issue. Let's kind of zoom in on sort of the daily chart. Look at the action, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And what I'm doing here is I'm just zooming in. So hopefully we can see this a little bit easier. You can see this blue pattern here. That's what they call the buy zone. So right now we are just a tad above that buy zone. We're just a tad above that buy zone. But look at this is good action because if it can close, and I don't know if it will because it's pulled off a little bit, but as you can see, there's resistance right here at 310. And currently we are basically at 310. So if this thing can close above 310, we're probably going to go higher based on this chart. As you can see, we have we have this upward momentum going on here. That's the reason I did this. That's the reason I did this spread, is because of this momentum, and because of this breakout. The breakout was strong, and look at this relative strength line. Another thing I want to kind of show you here. I'm going to draw a line now. Now I'm drawing all these lines, and they're kind of confusing, but we always want to see the relative strength line. That's this blue line here. Go to a new high. Now it's not quite there. It was a little bit stronger here. Now this is the stock relative to the S&P 500. But as you can see, the motion is upward, the price is upward, and most importantly, the volume is up. So this is looking very, very bullish right now. Again, it may adjust a little bit, but right now it's very, very bullish. Let's kind of take a look at the trade that I just made here, and hopefully I can bring this up and we can see it in just a second. All right, there we go. And I'm bringing this trade up. This is a spread trade that I just did, and it's pretty simple. The mechanics of it is pretty simple, but I mean, it's the kind of trade that if you see something moving, it's a way you can take advantage of the move of 100 shares very, very easily without having to buy them. I really like doing these kind of trades because, I really like doing these trades because it it gives us, it gives us a nice look at. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna bring this up on this chart. All right. Hopefully I'll get this up. There we go. All right, and this is really kind of the deal here. This is what I did today on DocuSign. Okay, it's not really, it's not an overly complicated trade, but I just kind of want to run you through it a little bit here. This is the projected profit chart. Okay, so this trade, when I did it, when I got the fill on this, cost $443 to get into it. Basically, what you're doing is you're buying the October 15th 310 call, and then simultaneously you're selling the October 15th 320 call. So as this moves above 310, in this zone from 310 to 320, that's where we're going to see all of the money being made. So as the stock goes up, and see when I did it, it was at about 309. So as the stock moves up, you can see we get into the profit zone. Now, I obviously want to see by October 15th, that's the expiration date. I want to see this thing at basically at about 319. And I definitely think I definitely think that's possibility. So what I'm doing is I'm sort of saying that it's going to go from about 310 to about 320 over the period of time up until October 15th. And if it does, as you can see, I will make $557 on that. Okay. So that's the maximum return. And that would be right at 320. That's the spread. We're coming into the spread. I did it right below, with the calls. This is how you want to do it. As it sort of peaks above 310, that's where it starts to make money. Now, of course, if it goes down, of course, we could lose money. We'll close that early, but we want to get the full spread. We want to get the movement basically from 320, I mean 310 to 320 with 100 shares. But in order to control 100 shares normally, if I were doing this normally, it would cost me a lot more money, a lot more money than this. As a matter of fact, it would cost me at $310 a share to control 100 shares. It would cost me, $31,000. But with this, I get the same action, not quite as good a return, but same action with that, with 100 shares, basically for the price of $443. So that's not looking too terribly bad. I just kind of want to show you the risk profile. This is the actual risk profile that I calculate, and I know I'm going through a lot of stuff, and it's kind of complicated. So, I hope this doesn't kind of go over a lot of people's heads. But as you can see, this is 310. This is sort of where we are today, and this red line here is basically the maximum. So the maximum we can make is 557. You see that line? But as this price goes up, then it comes into this zone. Now, of course, if the stock falls, we can lose money too. So we could lose potentially, we could potentially lose $443. That's right here. This is the red line. But as the stock moves up, you see, as the stock moves up, it gets into this profit zone. So as of today, this line here, this is sort of the average slope. This is sort of where we're going in terms of what we're doing today. So the prediction on this, of course, is that it's going to be somewhere above in this profit zone, hopefully, as long as things don't change. But this is basically a spread trade, and it's a pretty simple trade, but it's very, very effective. By the way, if you want to, if you want to get on the mailing list, I will send you out the full deck when I complete it on this. If you're watching on YouTube, it's super easy. Just go to www.Dallas Trading Floor. Just need the first and last name and your email address, and we can get that information out to you. So that's kind of the thing with DocuSign. Now, let's get to, and thank you very, very much. I'm very bullish on DocuSign right now. It's a little bit above the buy zone. So let's go to the DocuSign chart, and let's see if I can pull that up. All right, I'm pulling up the DocuSign. Well, I need to let's get the DocuSign chart up here, and I'm bringing up the MarketSmith search. I happen to use MarketSmith. There's a lot of great charting software out there, but this is one I really like because there's a lot of automatic features on it. Now, of course, I don't get any money from I've said that twice from IBD, but I do think it's well worth it. So, anyways, here's the chart again for DocuSign, kind of the full chart. Now we're a little bit extended here. The actual top of the actual buy point on this is about 30303. So we're a little bit extended. We're $7 above the proper buy point for DocuSign, but I do believe that we can go into the stock because the best buy zone is 5% above the pivot up 5%, but we can, you could potentially stretch it to about 10%. I don't like to do that, but because the lower that we buy it in this zone, the safer it is. So that's the reason I didn't go with the shares. That's why I went with the spread instead. If I'd been in the buy zone, then I would have actually bought the shares. But look at this volume. It's incredible. 434% up in volume and up 5.26% in price, about $15. So very, very strong. It was down here, then it just broke out on the high volume. So very nice stuff. Still buyable, but I would kind of recommend possibly putting an order in for it. It's probably going to adjust a little bit down on Monday, so you might get a better fill there th- than today because of the breakout. Hans is also asking about Zscaler, and Zscaler has been, the cloud the internet security software space has been very strong, but unfortunately with Zscaler, we are above we are above the proper buy point. We're above the proper buy range, and unfortunately, right now, this stock is extended. So even though this has a great chart, ZS has a great chart here, and it's in a great area, computer software security. I just don't think I think it's a little bit dangerous to buy it here. Basically, what's been working the best for me this year has been buying it right before it moves through the pivot. That's with the reversal, and then up to maybe 5%. Over that, it's a little extended, and it's just dangerous to buy stocks a little extended. Here's another thing I want to point out with Zscaler. Earnings are in 4 days. It's probably not a good time to start building a position. You want to see it go through earnings. This may do well through earnings, like DocuSign did, but it also might not. It does have a history though, and this is thing, and I want to kind of point this out. In the past, and I'm putting it right there, we've had some good action. We have had some good reactions to earnings, but 2 quarters ago, it went down when it went through earnings, and before that, let's look at this, it went up. So this is a pretty hard one to judge with Zscaler. Here's the thing about Zscaler: great stock, good potential, good potential acquisition, but I wouldn't buy it too close into earnings. And whereas I think you could definitely go in with DocuSign. So okay, Tycoon W, LAC. Let's look at LAC. Quick, LAC is lithium. You know, the, I've been, I'm coming around on this lithium stuff because lithium seems to be in everything, and there are some commodities that are in short supply, and this definitely is one of them. Lithium Americas company. It's a lithium miner. It's got in Argentina and Nevada. That's very interesting. Well, that's kind of good. So it's a Canadian-based company, and some of these Canadian miners are really, really good. Um, but it looks pretty strong. The group though is not a good group. It's mining metal ores. This is not a good group. 133 out of 197. So I'm a little bit on the fence on this one. Here's a little bit I think safer play. So looking at this chart, I would recommend you watch list this one, but I wouldn't probably be buying it. I want to buy the best setup so I possibly can. And right now, it's a good one, but it's not the best watch. It's not the best setup. There is one that I like though, that's sort of in the mining space, chemical space, and I think this one might benefit more than some of the miners, and it's Albemarle. ALB is the symbol on it. I want to show you this one. Albemarle Corporation, they make polymer additives, catalysts, and chemicals. Well, basically, these are the guys, folks, that are going to be making the stuff that people are going to actually buy. It's true, lithium goes into the batteries, but it's going to be the companies like Albemarle that are going to be making the stuff that people are actually going to buy. So this is a value add company. Unfortunately, with this one, it does not have the greatest setup in the world. I wish it did. The buy point at 177.59 is the buy point on this one. Currently, it's trading at 241 after hours with a relative strength of 96, which is incredible for a chemical company. But the specialty chemical areas companies have been doing well. Number 41 out of 197. So With this one, this is my you might wanna watch this one too. I mean, if the lithium play may be very good. This may base out here a little bit and give us an opportunity, but right now, I don't think that Lithium America just is not the right setup. Um, it's not the right setup right now, unfortunately. So, go figure. All right, let's take a question from TikTok. Thank you for waiting, everybody. I'm hoping everybody's doing well. All right, let's talk about Tesla. Tesla, because everyone likes Tesla. I do too. Tesla. Let's look at Tesla. I've been kind of going slow on Tesla. I haven't really been building a position in this one, and part of the reason is this chart. Where I do like it. Let's zoom in a little bit on the chart. Okay, there we go. All right. So zooming in. As you can see, we've moved past this reversal line. I drew the reversal line. This is this black line here. I'm sort of highlighting. Okay. We've moved past that. We're above the 200-day line. This is the black dotted line is the reversal line, and the black solid line is the 200-day moving average. We've moved above that, but we seem to have some resistance here at about 730. So it is pulled up today. There definitely is resistance at about 730. I would like to see this thing move higher, but every great stock, and this has been a great stock, sort of has to rest. Now it's starting it's some of the overhead supply is starting to get removed, which is good. I'll explain that in just a second. We have it's more than 15% off of its all-time high. I like to buy a stock as it's high and going higher. So this has a very good chart. I mean, it's starting to have a good chart, but I still think I'm really not wanting to go into this one right now based on that. I just, I don't really want to go into this chart right now. It's not a perfect chart. And right now it's hard to buy. We've got to buy the best setups that we possibly can. I mean, that's absolutely critical. So my view um, on Tesla is probably to watch list it right now, and that's just kind of the deal. Okay, question on on coin. Of course, this is Coinbase, as everybody knows. Um, and let me kind of zoom down here. There we go. I'm just pulling it up. Coin. And the problem this year has been there's been a lot of IPOs this year, but it just hasn't been it just hasn't been as good. I mean, some of these IPOs have been weak. Um, Coinbase, if you look at it, and and I have this reversal line in here. I'm going to reactivate it. Um, the thing about this has been, you know, it was way up here at about 420, 440, and then it just hasn't pulled back since. I'm really, you know, this one, I think that, but really to buy this one and to make it make sense, I think we're going to have it move above 350. I think we're going to have to move above 350 a share. So right now, I am not, right now, I don't think you can buy it. It's, I think you could watch list this one, but I wouldn't be a buyer at this level. The relative strength is only 17. And it just doesn't look as if this one is nearly as viable as we would like to see it. I mean, so I would take a go slow on that one, and yeah, I would just take a go slow on that one. Let's see if we can get a more let's look at Riot Blockchain. This is probably the way to play blockchain. I mean, I think I agree with you on Riot and Mara. Instead of buying, it's great if you've made money in blockchain, by buying the actual physical shares. But Riot Blockchain is the one that probably is going to do the best. Now, can we buy it though? That's the that's the whole question. Can we buy it? Well, it looks like it's getting support at the 200-day line. It's got a 99 rel strength, which is incredibly high. So I kind of want to draw the line here. just to kind of look to see. Yeah, this is it's just gotten against the regular market. It's gotten a huge strength. Now, here's the issue with Riot blockchain right now. Right now, it's an IPO, and this IPOs are tough to buy. It was all the way up here at 75.80. It's got a relative strength of 99. It's bouncing off the 200-day line. I just even though it has a checklist of 78%, which is excellent, I just probably would not be a buyer at this level because I just want to see some more strength. Right now, we kind of a. It's not really a strong market. I mean, we're at highs, and so it's a market that we have to be very careful about how we buy. If we buy right, these you could do extremely well if you buy right. But if you don't, it's just a tough way to go. Now, talking about buying right, I want to look. I want to kind of look in. We might have the last chance to buy. We might have the last chance to buy Matson, MATX. Let's check a look at it. Yeah, I think it's two. Yeah, it's just above. And this is one. This is kind of what I mean by you know, what's viable and what's not. This one, Matson Lines, and again, this is the ship transportation. It's a very boring company. I wouldn't, it's not going to change the world, but freight rates are going up and it's in the buy zone and it's done very, very well. The earnings on this one are just stellar. They're up 388%. This is the stock that I was talking about earlier. I started buying it basically as it moved. And I'll show you how I do this. I draw the reversal line. There's the reversal line. I started buying it as it came out of this reversal, and then I've been sort of gradually adding to the position as it's been moving up. Now, eventually, it's gonna break and it's gonna form another base, but right now it's moving up. You can still buy this. It's still in the buy range above the pivot. The pivot being 79.04. So the top of the top of buy the buying range is basically, and I want to kind of show you this. It's about 83. Now it's 83.34 right now. So you technically could buy this one, and I do think it has a potential of being, a very good buy at this level. So that's one. That's why I'm talking about trying to buy the best setups that you possibly can. And if you do that on a regular basis and you push that stop loss up, you're going to get some good results. I guarantee you. It's amazing how the magic works. And sometimes it's not in the stocks that you think that you're going to make money in too. I've made money in very random stocks. They're not tech. Most of them are tech, but some of them, are like Matson. They're just, they're just they're just an average stock. They're just in an area that just happens to be being doing very, very well. This is Hut 8 Mining. This is a question from Mark. Thank you very much, Mark. And this has had some very nice movement. It's right over $10. I think Hut 8 Mining was one of the stocks. This is a Canadian firm. No, it's cryptocurrency mining. Excuse me. I think this was out on one of the under $10 lists. This one has been doing very, very well. I mean, I'm not in this one. I'll be honest with you. And I probably would not be a buyer of it and the only reason is because it's only been out for basically 2.5 months. So not a whole lot of time on this one. But it has moved up. Now, would I buy at these levels? No, probably not. I want to see a base pattern. But look at this. Look at this volume. It's incredible. Up 594%. Let's kind of look at the checklist. 78 checklist. That's very, very strong considering everything. And of course, it's in the specialty financial services with cryptocurrency mining. So it's very interesting. This is an interesting company. Definitely a lot of sales, 263% up in terms of their sales. Not profitable yet, but no, I guess it is profitable. Excuse me. It is profitable. Return on equity 22%. That's pretty good. But here's the thing. Even though that's a good one, I take a look at DocuSign. I just want to show you the return on equity that DocuSign has. And this one is investment grade, whereas Hut 8 is really not. This one here, DocuSign, has a 42% return on equity. It's incredible when you look at it. So it's I'm I'm not I am comparing these, but I just kind of want to show you might be a better idea to buy fewer shares of this one rather than Hut 8. You might be able to do very well on Hut 8, but you got to be a little bit careful because when these things pull back, boy, they can really pull back hard. All right, we have a question from TikTok on DraftKings. DKNG, of course, is the symbol for DraftKings, and it's forming a very nice base. I want to show you this. This might give us some opportunities. I'm not in this one currently right now, but I'm looking here at the weekly chart and I'm liking kind of what I'm seeing. So what I'm going to do here is I kind of zoomed in a little bit, so maybe you can see it. This is a cut base, and it's coming up to a buy point. The buy point is 74.38 currently. It's obviously not at that level, but it's at 61. So what could we do here? Well, potentially, what we could do is we could go and see if we could possibly make an early buy on this one. Now, as you said, I'm not currently in this one. This is the reversal line here. This is on the daily chart, by the way. And I just want to see if there is, yeah, okay. So definitely it's above that very okay. So this is starting to look very good. This once this line here, this is the 40-day moving average, catches up and it goes right above the 200-day moving average. That's what they call the golden cross. Now, it hasn't quite happened yet. So here's what I would do with here's what I would do with DocuSign. I would look to see kind of where the 200-day line is. So let's look at that. So I want to see this. I want to see kind of where that 200-day line is. Yeah, and it's about at 54. So here's what I would say. If this thing moves, and I'm going to look here for the next highest level here, but if this moves above about 62, that's kind of where I want to buy it. There you go. So for DraftKings, as it moves above that line, that's kind of where I want to buy it. I want to set an alert on that line, and I want to set an alert basically at about 79.05. Oops, nope, that's not where I want to set it. I want to set it at 62.28, 27, excuse me, 62.27. That's sort of where I want to set that alert. And the reason I want to set that alert there, and this will zoom it out a little bit, is because that's kind of where the resistance is. If it can move beyond that, this 62.27 area, if it can move beyond that, then I think we have a definite reversal and we could get into it. So that would be called a low cheat. That would be essentially an area that we could get into it prior to it going to the buy point or the pivot. Now, currently, the checklist on this is 67. Very good checklist, by the way. And the area that it's in, the leisure gaming equipment area, it's definitely improving 73 out of 197. So currently, I like this one, but I think it's not actionable right now. So I would watch this one and set an alert. And then where I'd set that alert would be at 62.27. That's where I think that if DraftKings moves above that 62.27, then that's where I think we could possibly get into it. That's where it's starting to show its power, and it's a good way to go in. Also, want to analyze the relative strength line. That's a key level. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to show you kind of what that's doing there. Okay, so if we you can see that there's been times when this relative strength line has been above currently where it's at. So right now with DraftKings, and this is a key, this is why you don't want to buy it until it moves above about 62.27, because there's a lot of this overhead supply. You can see with this line is showing that there's a lot of overhead supply. So the relative strength is getting better, but there's still a lot of overhead supply on um, on DraftKings. Now, what do I mean by overhead supply? Well, what happens when you get a stock that runs up really quickly is people buy it and then it runs up, and then as it starts moving down, they do not sell, and so they hold it, and so they just hold it and hold it, and then eventually it gets down low, and then but they still don't sell it, and then as it comes up, they're like, finally, when it gets to kind of where they're breaking even, then they're selling it. So that's how a lot of people play. So that creates what they call overhead supply. So as the stock goes up, it gets to a point where people say, "Oh, well, I can break even now. I'm going to sell." So this is the issue with Tesla right now too. Stocks that formerly have run up very quickly typically have this problem. And right now, DraftKings has this problem. So I'm not going to be a buyer until it moves higher because I want some of that overhead supply to be relieved, and then it could probably go higher. So that's basically DraftKings, one of my favorite stocks actually. Resistance and support for SPR. See SPRT. Yeah, let's get S Spirit. I guess this is SPRT. I think this is one of the airlines. No, support.com, excuse me. Tough to tell on this one. This is sort of another, not really a penny stock, but let's look at the weekly chart to see kind of how this is done in the past. Yeah. Okay. This one has been around for, it's for a while. It basically came out in March of, in March, but it's still an IPO. So what can we see about this one? Well, right now, I just not buyable. And this chart is just not buyable. You had this is called a climax top, and all the way up to 60. Wow, that's incredible. Climax top, and then it's pulled back. So I just don't think this is really viable right now. But hey, I could be all wet on this one. It just seems as if there's probably a lot of shorting going on in this one. Well, not that bad. It's zero point 0.3 days, 31%, so it's gone down a little bit. Um, I just think that you maybe can make this one by day trading this one, but I wouldn't be an investor in this one. I just wouldn't be an investor in this one. I want a better horse. That's really that's the main thing. Excuse me. Thoughts on AMD? Can it hit 120? Absolutely, it can. Jay, let's look at AMD. I was just evaluating some of the spreads that I have. I have spreads on AMD, Deere, also, of course, today I entered a spread on DocuSign. So I definitely think AMD is, the kind of stock that can easily get to 120. It's been there before, and it's not a stranger to this level. I mean, yeah, it's definitely been there before, and I don't think, I think it definitely can get there again. Now the question is, when is it going to get there? That's always the question. When is it going to get there, and what's going to take for it to get there? So let's kind of click on over to that chart, and basically we have some resistance here, right at about where we are now, which is about the which is about the 210 level. We just seem to have run into a little bit of a, not really a problem. I'm going to put it down there. Yeah, see 109. So we definitely have some resistance right here, and you can see the 21-day moving average is flattening out. So that's telling us that it's not moving up too much. But here's what's happening by looking at the volume. Let's look at the volume here. This little Easter egg means that this was the most volume since the last pivot, which is right back here. So what's happening? Well, you can see the volume is oops, no, of course it helps when it doesn't do that. There we go. So as you can see, the volume is moving lower for this, which means that people are starting, the weekends are getting squeezed out. So typically, what will happen, and I just want to kind of show you what happened here, when you get this tapering of selling, and that's what's happening here. You can see that when it's done, typically you get these nice movements up. Okay. So that's what I think is getting ready to happen here with AMD. AMD is there's a lot of the weekends um, that are getting squeezed out. Now, here's what I recommend as a way to trade AMD. I would trade it on a buy stop limit order. And what do I mean by that? Well, if it moves above about, I would say about 112, maybe 112.10, then that's probably where you want to come in and buy. So you want to get as the weekends get taken out, eventually it's going to pop up above that level. Why? Because people just aren't going to be willing to sell it. So with that's why I think that you possibly could buy this, but I think you don't want to buy it until it's good. I don't think you want to buy it until it moves above about that 112 range. And if it does, then I think you could get into it. And a way to automatically do that, of course, was with a buy stop limit order. And I probably need to make some videos on how to set these, but they're very handy, especially if you can't be around all the time and and watch it and watch all your positions. This is kind of a way you can automatically trade those positions, so it can be very nice. But I definitely think the trend of AMD is still upward, and it's just what happens. It spiked up there to 122. It's pulled back. It's gathering steam. The weekends are getting sold, are getting taken out. Now, of course, what I did with this is I moved my stop loss up. I moved in right before the pivot, and then I ran it up to 116, and as it pulled back up to 122, then I had a my stop limit at 116. It pulled back to 116, and it sold out. So that's how I traded it. Now, I do have a spread on this one that also is doing well. But I think AMD, I don't think it's time to give up on AMD at all. Right now, unfortunately, to enter it right now, it's a little bit extended. So, the correct buy point, we're above the correct buy point. So, the correct entry on AMD is a 95. The top of the buy zone was about 100, and so we're now extended. So if you buy it at this level, you can buy things extended, but you got to be very careful because when you buy them extended, they typically sometimes can pull back and usually do. They will pull back to support, and support on this one is probably going to be, basically at the top of the buy zone, right at 100. So you got to be very careful when you buy this. Now, if it moves above about 112, then it's probably going to move higher because that's sort of the resistance for it now. So I know that's kind of complicated, giving you all these mumbo jumbo, but that's kind of how it is. So right, I absolutely think it can move above 120, no problem. I think it can move above 120, but it's going to have to get and hold 112 first. It just is. I mean, that's just the long and the short of it. Thank you, Jay. Again, let's take a look at Disney. Let's look at that chart. Because this is a Dow component, and it is definitely a winner when it comes to the streaming wars. There's no question about this. Disney Plus has been doing great. That's their theme parks have been a little bit tough because of the COVID thing, the um, but Disney Plus has been doing great business. Now, here there are some concerns that I have with Disney right now. The question is it the right time to buy it? Well, the relative strength right now is very low. And why? Because of the COVID. We did have very nice earnings. The last earnings were good. Sales were up 45%, and profits, and that's key, was up 900%, which is incredible. So that's kind of what they're keying off of. But still, we're still riding that 200-day line. I just don't like to buy stocks. I mean, it's not, I want to see them reverse off of that 200-day line. Now, we did have a reversal, and basically that reversal day was, basically about a week ago. Finally, Disney did reverse higher, but it's still struggling. It's still struggling. So I want to see it get kind of clear some of these higher areas. So even though it's reversed, I kind of want to see it now. I want to see it clear of that reversal. That's really the reversal that I want to do now. And why? Because this is, I think, showing, it just needs to get more strength. So right now with Disney, I think that, you've got to I probably will not be a buyer of Disney until it moves above about 185. And right now it's at 181. So it's close, but I want to see it move above about 185. And the reason I do is because I want to confirm. And you say, Jim, why don't you want to buy at the lower price? Well, the reason I don't want to buy at the lower price is I want to confirm an uptrend. And in order for it really to confirm an uptrend, it has to clear the intermediate high, and the intermediate high right now for Disney 187.58 on the trend line. Now I can go lower than that because of this trend line, but I don't really want to go too much lower than that. So I just think right now with Disney, you just have to watch list this one, unfortunately. And it's really hard to do that. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to set the this up at at um, 180 185 is where I'm gonna is where I'm going to is where I'm going to put it. I mean, I'm going to put it right up there. So that's kind of where I want to see it. So I want to see a little bit more power on Disney. I would watch list this one right now. I probably would not be in it right now. So okay, great question. Thanks, Mohammed. Could you please advise on Beyond? Well, Beyond Meat was a very popular stock last year. I haven't been trading it. I'll be honest. On a fundamental basis, this one is going to get a lot of competition from from the incumbent players like Hormel and companies like that. So this is going to be a tough road. Right now, it's trading below that 200-day line. Here's the thing: if I was down more than there's some sell signals going on here, and I want to point them out here. We've people are starting to it isn't really a capitulation yet, but we're starting to see some selling. That's a selling spike. So somebody capitulated their position. It's down. It's got a relative strength of 11. Not looking good. I don't probably want to be in this one right now. I probably want to, if I was down more than 7%, I just would sell. I would just sell this one. So really, if you're down more than 7%, you just want to sell this one. It's not time to buy Beyond Meat BYND. Just if you're down more than 7%, sell it. And I know this is painful. Believe me. Until you get used to cutting your losses very quickly, you think, oh well, it can come back, and maybe it can. But you know what? More than often, if it drops below the 200-day line, like Beyond Meat has, it sometimes it will come back, but a lot of times it won't. So you got to be super duper careful. So right now, with Beyond Meat down more than 7%, sell it. Move it to something that's going to give you a potentially, you need better merchandise than this. Right now, Beyond Meat just is not the place to be. Food and meat products, not a terrifically good area right now. 152 out of 197. So it is definitely moving lower. So just be careful with Beyond Meat. If you're down more than 7%, I think you don't need to hold on to it. I think you need to kind of get out of it. Um, Thank you very much. Let's look at Zoom. Zoom has been, Zoom is the COVID king. They've done incredibly well, but they took a huge hit on earnings. Now you would think that they wouldn't, but they they did. It was crazy. I want to show you this chart. This is the weekly chart that I'm going to take a look at here really quickly. But the weekly chart shows it, unfortunately, when they had their earnings, and their earnings were good too, by the way. This is also why when you're coming into earnings, you want to kind of reduce your position if you're not up more than 10%. If you're up more than 10%, then you can safely hold through. Another way to do this is to trim your position by 50%. Right now, unfortunately, and and Zoom is incredible. I mean, but look at this. I mean, right now it's fallen tremendously. The relative strength is way down, 10, 10. And I want to show you this. This has a mountain of overhead supply. So right now with this one, it's just a lot of overhead supply in this one. It's just a tough it's a tough row to go, but lots of overhead supply. Um, you know, uh, not don't enter here. So really, that's you just kind of really have to be cognizant of that. You just really have to be cognizant of that. There's just lots of overhead supply here. Lots and lots of overhead supply. It took a dive. It looks like it's probably gonna go lower. You know what? Um, this one might rally up to the 200-day line, but this one potentially could be a short. I don't think this one will be because they've had just so much growth. I wouldn't be shorting this one, but I wouldn't be buying it either. So right now with Zoom, I think you got to be really careful because I think that it's got an overhead supply. So yeah, I just think if you're down more than 7%, consider selling it and going on to something else. Now I'm just kind of being a broken record on this, but it's really, really important to maintain your capital base because when the opportunities happen, you want to be able to take advantage of them. So by cutting your losses, very, very tightly, that's where you're going to get a lot of very, very, you're going to really be able to capitalize on some of those great opportunities. Talking about great opportunities, uh, Nvidia, this has been a good stock for a lot of people. It's definitely been a good stock for me. Unfortunately, it's not really buyable right now. It's moved above the buy range, but I just want to show you the weekly chart on this. This has almost a picture perfect weekly chart. You can see it hasn't given us all that many opportunities to get into it. That's the thing. I mean, I started, this is pre-split. This is where I sort of got into it. I was able to get another opportunity here, but this is only given us basically one, two, really only two opportunities really to get into it. Basically here at about 120 to 140, and then from about 180 to 200. So we're really, unfortunately, we've shaken out most of this of the weak holders, and it's probably going to go higher. But it's extended, so it's dangerous to buy it at this level. But it's looking like to me that we've got most of the weak holders out of there. So if we look at the overhead supply, and this is kind of what I'm doing here by drawing this line, as you can see, this is gaining strength on the S&P 500. So there's almost no overhead supply on Nvidia. It's being acquired, and so this thing is probably going to go higher. I suspect Nvidia will be at about 250 probably by the end of September. It's just looking very, very good. Now, could you buy at this level? Absolutely, you can buy at this level, but be careful. If you do buy at this level, you want to set a very tight stop loss, 2 or 3%, and it is a little extended right now. You know, um, I would be a little bit careful buying at this level, but this is still a strong stock. I want to compare this stock to Zoom. As you can see with Zoom, the relative strength was a 10. This is a 93. So that's kind of where I want to show you that. I want to show you the relative strength of that. Okay, this is probably getting into some of the last questions here. And I thank you so much for taking a look. Rio Madrid, and I guess he's in Hamburg, Germany. Great place, is interested in Zim. Of course, this was an IPO, very strong stock in the shipping area. This has just been a fantastic area for stock. You think it could go higher? Absolutely. Based on this chart alone, I can tell you this is more than likely going to go higher. And I'm guessing, we could possibly go 60, 70 on this very, very soon. And why? Well, let's go to the weekly chart. Let me show you why that's the case. We've moved through this buy point, so it has based. This is a basing pattern, and now it's just going to follow this trend. And so this trend, this is on is basically like that. So this could easily be an $80 stock by the end of the year. Now, would I buy it here? Well, it's a tad extended again. Again, the proper buy zone, the proper buy point, 47.84, and up to basically up to 50. That's the proper level. It's now at 54. Could we buy it at this level? Absolutely, we could. But here's the thing: if I did buy it at this level, I would set a very tight stop loss. The stop loss that I would set on this would be about a 52 stop loss. So if I bought it here, and this is extended, I would buy it here, but I would set a 52 or a 51.50 stop loss on this because this can pull back and it can pull back hard. But other than that, this is just looking great. It's got a 89% checklist. This is excellent. And I want to check it in its sector. This has just been doing great. This the ship transportation. I want to check all the stocks in here. Well, the number one is Matson, of course. That's why I'm in this one because it's the biggest. It's got the best. It's got the best overall. That's why I'm in Matson, and I'm not in Zim. Now, if I wasn't in Matson, I'd probably be in Zim. Zim has a little bit higher, a little bit more. Um, it has a little bit more powerful relative strength, but again, it's all good. So basically, in terms of off their highs, Zim is making new highs, so that's excellent. You see, Matson's making new highs, Costamere is making new highs, and Global Ship Lease is all making new highs. So this is a great sector to be in, but what I'm doing here is basically just taking one stock, and I'm trying to go with the leader, and I believe that's Matson, but you never can tell. You never can tell. Um, I think that Zim has just been terrific. Well, I've come to the end of the hour, and thank you so much, everybody, for taking a look at the show. If you want to get on the action trade alerts, I'm going to probably try to put out this spread trade that I have on DocuSign. I still think it's actionable. I got into it basically today, and it'll kind of show you a little bit about it. But you got to be on that action trade alerts list, and the way to do that, of course, is to go to www.dallastradingfloor.com and get the first and last names on there. And if you're watching on TikTok, it's even easier. Just go to my profile, click the link, and you'll see it. First and last name and email address where we can send you all some of the good information. And of course, if you're interested in the Discord room, we go over trades all day, basically from market open until this show. So that's a great way to get some market insight as well. And that's a pay service, but a lot of people think it's well worth it. So we've had some very good results. So we have a gentleman that's his portfolio is up about 67% since they started with us last year. So we're pretty excited about that. So until I hope everybody has a great Labor Day holiday and happy trading. And I will see you on Tuesday. I will see you on Tuesday. So thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. How come Russell is going up and penny stocks fell? Well, penny stocks. This is why I don't buy penny stocks. This is why I typically don't buy penny stocks. Penny stocks are pump and dump. A lot of times they don't have the sponsorship from the big funds, and that's one of the reasons why. Okay, let's see. I'm going to take one last thing here, and that is, can you look at GRIF? Let's look at GRIF. So so that GRIF. Let me look at this. Look at this stock here. Oh, I don't. Okay, so GRLF. Excuse me on that. GRLF. And let's take it. That's not coming up either, I'm afraid. GRLF. Huh. Okay. Is that right? Um, I don't know this stock. No, unfortunately, that symbol I didn't get it recognized, so I can't give you anything on that. So I'll have to cut it there. I'm sorry, but I will have to cut this. But anyways, I hope everyone. Oh wait, we have one more. Let's. It may not be on your platform. Yeah, it probably is not. Let's take a look at IND. This is the last. This is the last ticker. Thank you very much. INDI. Is that right? INDI. Semi? Yeah, there we go. Indy Semi. Indy Semi. Pretty cool. Okay, so let's look at this one. This is interesting. It's $10 stock. A semiconductor. It's in a great area, of course, the semiconductor. And then they actually make their own. That's interesting. They have automotive sensors. Okay, I like this area already. This is a very strong area for the chip business. It looks as if it just moved above the 200-day line. I'm liking that. Relative strength is 41. That's a little low for me, but remember, this is a little bit more speculative of a stock. Let's see if we could get a reversal line on this one because this one might be actionable. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a reversal line. We definitely have a reversal here. So this is not, this is interesting. This has made a move right above the 200-day line. Gee, this is interesting. Very interesting. Relative strength is moving up. Let's see if this is even viable. That's not a bad checklist. 67. This isn't a bad one. This isn't a bad one at all. This would be a very speculative buy here, but yeah, you can definitely buy at this level. This is what they call a reversal buy. It's not as good. It's a secondary buy point. It's not a primary buy point. Secondary buy point. You could buy this here. Now, if you do buy this here, be very careful and stick a stop loss in right at the 200-day line because that's where it's going to bounce about 1040. So if you bought here, put a stop loss in here at about 1040 if you buy it at 1072. I probably will not be in this one with you just because it's just a little bit speculative and it's not a leader. I like to buy the leaders. But it's looking very interesting. So what I would do with this one, I would definitely watch this one. I'm going to watch this one myself, but I definitely will watch this one as well. So thanks again, and I will be back on Tuesday. I'll be back. I'll be back on Tuesday of next week. And until then, happy trading.